Welcome to Moments in Time and Space, a microfiction podcast, bringing you tales of horror and suspense with your host, Aaron Maracle. Hello everyone. Hiking is good for your health. You get lots of fresh air, give your muscles a workout, and get to see some of the beauty nature has to offer. You'll never know what you'll find off the beaten path. It was an early summer morning, and the heat had not yet come to make the air thick. Being a seasoned hiker, Barry knew this was the best time to start one of his explorations. Even more so, the morning hours were free of the amateur hikers who had taken up the hobby during the pandemic to get out of their homes. The first part of the hike was familiar. Barry always hiked along the well-worn path that wound between the tall trees. He knew that within a few hours, the path would be crowded with people, and the solace would be disrupted by their noise, as well as their inconsideration of nature. The garbage that lined the path only fueled Barry's annoyance, and he could hardly wait for the exciting part of his hike to begin. 90 minutes later, Barry took a sharp right off the path and began to cut through the trees. He had taken to hiking out the marked path to avoid the masses. There was a risk of aggressive wildlife or getting lost, but Barry carried all the necessary gear to counter possible threats. He had taken multiple excursions and never come across anything larger than a rabbit. As for getting lost, a cell phone and a compass were stored in his pack should Barry need them. The feeling of calm within Barry grew as he continued his trek into the unknown. Far from the worn path, the forest was peaceful. Apart from the occasional sound of a songbird, there was only the gentle breeze to keep Barry company. The forest was still thick enough to keep out most of the summer sun and the worst of the heat. Barry caught a faint scent on the breeze. It smelled like a sickly sweet combination of honey and citrus. His calm was turning to annoyance as Barry surmised that the amateur hikers had somehow intruded upon his path. The scent was probably some new age bug repellent or health food. As the scent increased, so did Barry's anger. He was running down all the things he would yell at the first idiot he met when he saw something that made him stop. The forest had thinned, and Barry found himself standing on the edge of a clearing. Looming in the middle of the clearing was a tree unlike Barry had ever seen before. Its umbrella-like canopy reminded him of a willow, but its dark green foliage was dotted with brilliant fuchsia flowers. Barry crossed the clearing and headed towards the center where the tree stood. The sickly sweet scent intensified as he drew closer to the tree. He could see the flowers more clearly now, and they were beautiful. The fuchsia was striking, and the black markings at the center of each flower looked like a starburst. While he admired the beauty of the flowers, Barry noticed something unusual about the trunk of the tree. Ducking under the edge of the canopy, Barry crept closer to inspect what he had seen. A line of fuchsia flowers spiraled around the dark trunk of the tree and vanished up into its foliage. Each of them displayed their black starburst, quivering occasionally in the breeze. The sickly sweet scent was so strong now that it was causing Barry's stomach to flip-flop. He felt slightly dizzy and reached out to use the tree to steady himself. His hand touched the rough bark and crushed one of the flowers beneath it. The canopy slammed downwards and closed around the trunk like an umbrella. Barry was caught within the limbs and pressed against the trunk. He screamed as hidden thorns along the branches pierced his flesh. Barry tried to struggle, but the tree's grip was like a steel vice. Blood began to gush from the wounds that the sharp thorns had made in Barry. He could feel the trails of warmth running down his body, and his blood began to pool slowly at the base of the tree. His cries became feebler as he felt his energy draining away. As his consciousness began to fade, Barry's final memory was the sickly sweet scent of the tree's fuchsia flowers filling his nostrils. Beauty can be deadly. Thank you for listening. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. You can also follow me on Twitter at MomentsInTAS. Feel free to recommend this podcast to others and help it grow. The opening and closing theme is Creepy Night by Daniel Carlton. Until next time, be safe, be smart, and be well. See you soon.